Thank you, Samantha, for that call to center kindness and curiosity in all of our interactions with each other. We're better together, so let's make certain we're making this space welcoming for all. If you're a member and interested in giving opening words at some future point, we would love to hear from you. You can contact Amy Miller or me or any member of the platform speakers team. And if you're a new member, please be prepared to be invited. We love to hear why you chose to be here, what brought you into this community. But you're not obligated to say yes. We'd love to hear from you, though. Okay, it's time to welcome Emily back up to the stage to perform You Are the Best Thing, a song that historically has made me cry. So here's hoping for one or the other. I'm not certain. It's going to be great.
You're going to be so disappointed because that's not what I'm playing.
Really? Oh.
I'm so sorry. I wanted to play that tune for my friend Amy. She loves Ray. Kind of introduced me to his music. And I got up this morning early and was going over my tunes and kind of was feeling a little more drawn to one of my original tunes. So I hope you are okay with me playing an original tune in place of that tune right now. What are you going to play? So this song is called Eyes, and I need to come up with a better name. I've been calling it Eyes, and I've been throwing 17 Z's on the end of it, so it doesn't make sense at all. But this song is about just this feeling that I had. It's a love song for my boyfriend. We were together for about 7 years, and then we had a nasty breakup, and then we were separated for about 10 years, and then we got back together. He's very much my person, and anyone that's ever been through that where you get back together, it was just kind of like that coming home feeling. And anyway, the song is a love song my boyfriend's called Eyes. It feels so good being alone with you once again. It feels so right getting the show into this new way of life. 'Cause being with you feels like the sun and the moon and the sky are gathered and dancing in the intentions I see in your eyes.
It was beautiful and powerful both. Meditation has been shown to have numerous positive effects on both the mind and the body. Before our main address, let's do 1 minute of mindful breathing. And as you breathe, gradually allow your breath to slow down and for your mind to clear. Thank you. At the Ethical Society, we organize our programmatic year around a theme. And I recognize we're starting 2024, but the programmatic year, we're only about a third of the way through. This year's theme is exploring the human condition. And I hope you've enjoyed the diverse array of platforms we've already had these last few months. Know that the platform team is hard at work scheduling dynamic and fascinating speakers and topics for us in the coming months, too. Our speaker today is the Ethical Society's interim director, Amy Miller, celebrating their 1-year anniversary on our stage and the midpoint of their time with us. Most of you know Amy by now, and our ethical community has been well served by their leadership, and my life has been enriched by their friendship. I'm excited to hear what she has to share on the topic of fresh starts and new beginnings. Please welcome Amy to the stage.
Hi, good morning. A couple housekeeping things. First of all, over the break, Zoe, my daughter, had an ear infection. She coughed a lot in my face. She gave me a cold. I don't have a cold anymore, but I do still have like a little bit of a tickle. I know it's very annoying when speakers clear their throat a lot. I'm probably gonna have to do it anyway. So I apologize for anyone who's listening to this later on a podcast. I will try to back away from the mic. Another thing is if you're watching online and the live stream dropped for a minute, it's back up. I think everything's fine. We have a sub today, Darian, we really appreciate you being here. He hasn't been here since we switched from altar, and I was in forum, so I was just like, hey, figure it out. So he figured it out. Thank you to our staff for helping. And then also Emily, amazing. I always think that I have a pretty good voice until I hear Emily sing, and then I'm like, oh, when I grow up, I wish I could have Emily's voice. I've been listening to her sing for a very long time, and she has grown into this beautiful voice, and it's just, I'm so happy. The last time she was here, I was supposed to be the speaker, and I got COVID, so I wasn't able to hear her in live. So thank you for being here. So I have my emotional support water bottle. I will be clearing my throat. But fresh starts and new beginnings. So yeah, a year ago today was my very first platform here. Well, the 8th, the first Sunday that we were open. And it's a slightly smaller crowd today, I will say, than last year. Last year it was like over 200 people came last year, and I think that was the most we'd had all year, and it was just because people were curious and or nosy. They wanted to see what was going on. But I'm so glad that all of you are here today. Sorry. So it was Heraclitus, an ancient Persian scholar, who coined the words, "The only constant is change." And I think that's a reasonable thing to keep in mind around the first of the year. The Ethical Society of St. Louis has a responsibility to continue to change in service of the mission and values you claim for yourselves. Samantha provided information about one path forward to holding ourselves accountable to the values we espouse as an organization. How much additional change we want to make in the next year is up to us as a community. We set some goals for ourselves this morning in Forum. Thank you for everyone who was there. I loved that. And those are for you and from you. As I said a year ago, I'm merely here as a guide. And for those of you who were not able to attend Forum this morning, I will send out a Google Doc this week, one of my famous surveys, where you can offer a New Year's resolution for the Ethical Society of St. Louis for the 2024. In the interest of a new year and opportunity for reflection, I thought it would be a good time to discuss change in general. Because what better time than the new year to remind you, you don't always have to be who or how you've been. I think sometimes we forget how much authority we have over our own lives. It can sometimes feel like the world has just rolled us around and squished us and pressed us in our soft places and molded us into, insert name here. We call this who we are, but it's not quite that simple. While the fundamental nature of a human may not change after some point of development, I personally believe that most aspects of who you are and how you show up can change, grow, evolve, and improve. Most of the time when people refuse to address problematic behaviors by claiming, this is just how I am, they're being lazy, and/or they are afraid of what could happen if they do change. You are the architect of your persona, which includes how you look, how you speak, how you treat people, and the decisions you make. You can change your name, your body, and any marker of how you identify. You can try on endless new ways of engaging with the world. Where you feel limited or unskilled, you can place yourself in situations that encourage growth and change. Most of us have been traumatized by this world in large and small ways, and whether we are aware of it or not, it impacts the way we connect with others. It impacts how we interpret the actions of others, how much grace we offer ourselves and each other. If you have difficult relationships and tend to blame the other most of the time, the new year offers a gentle opportunity to look inward and consider that maybe it's not other people causing the problems here, or maybe not always. Maybe you, as the common denominator, are the problem. Like that Taylor Swift song, "It's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me." If you don't know that song, it's actually really catchy. But don't shoot the messenger, but this is often the case. Sometimes I'm the problem. But it's never too late. You can do so much healing work that you emerge from it in a whole new way you've never been before, like a phoenix. Like, look at me, everybody, I'm brand new and I'm beautiful. You can do any or all of this at any stage of your life. There is never a day when a person is too old to change. The idea that you can't teach an old dog new tricks is a lie. The idea that you are ever too old or set in your ways to learn that you were wrong about something or to shift or expand your understanding is simply false and limiting. You are entitled to change anything about the way you show up in the world at any time. You have the right to ask that people take note when something has changed. Yes, that was true before, but it is no longer true. You may have 1,000 slightly improved versions of yourself waiting to be birthed. Think of your self-improvement journey like a series of app updates. We don't get mad that the tech support people are still trying to fix the app and keep re-releasing new and improved features. No, we just hope that this one will make the thing do what we want that will allow us to move forward peacefully. Life is progress and movement. Fix those bugs that make you shut down at inopportune moments. Update your operating system to reflect your current mindset. Keep informing the people around you that you are a new version so they don't get confused and treat you like an old one. When they do treat you like an old version, remind them that you have changed. Remember that you are under no obligation to remain the same person as time passes. You do not owe anyone your continued participation in any dynamic that does not serve you. You may at any moment decide to change or heal something about yourself and your life. You do not owe anyone an explanation about your process. Folks who feel bonded with you through a dysfunctional or unhealthy connection may particularly identify when you start to grow stronger and get stronger. You may begin to identify things as problematic that before you were okay with. New understandings require new agreements. Everything is open to negotiation. As such, you may choose at any time to say no to something that you previously said yes to, and you are not required to own anyone else's feelings about your shift. They may take some time to adjust, but you are not obligated to put energy into their adjustment. You may. It depends on how much you want to, but you don't have to. I no longer agree to this is a valid and mature way to revoke consent. Always remember that no is a complete sentence. Consent should be required for access to not only your body and personal space, but to your energy as well. You have the right to say, no, this doesn't feel good for me right now. Or, I know in the past this is how we've done things, but I don't want to do it this way anymore. That includes a marriage. That includes any relationship that you're in willingly. Your boss may or may not like this. It might not work at work. But other places in your life where you have options, this is where you can apply these. Because your capacity may fluctuate. Something you're available for today, you may not be available for tomorrow, and that's okay. Inform the people who are affected by your fluctuation so they're not blindsided. But beyond that, you don't really owe people an explanation. Honor your own rhythms and grow at your own pace. Remember that you contain within you infinite possibilities, and you don't need permission to try on a new version of yourself. Sometimes finding out who you really are is like trying on a lot of jeans. It can take a while to find the right fit. Remembering that we are all evolving all the time can also inform how we raise our children to think about themselves. When you tell your child you are shy, or you are bad, or you are ornery, or you are smart, or you are something, you may unintentionally be placing an identifying marker on them that will stick. That marker may cause that child later in life to believe certain things are inalienable about them, when those qualities were actually assigned to them by someone outside their body. Only inside the body can it be known what is true about a person. But once an identity gets placed upon you, it can feel impossible to be something else. Change may seem out of the question, and you may consistently behave in accordance with those identities. But remember also that who you are is not your behavior. We've talked about this before. I think it was in June. We talked about the difference between identity and behavior. Your behavior is a collection of habits that you mostly don't think too much about. Your behavior is the stuff the world sees you doing, but the world can't know who you are busy being on the inside unless you make it known. You can expand and change your behaviors at any time to show a fuller version of who you are today. For example, I was a shy and a smart child. I carried the labels shy and smart with me. My parents were educators and had me IQ tested and all that before I even knew what it meant. So the label was assigned and internalized early. I think my parents meant well. I think they wanted to encourage me by saying, like, oh, you're so smart, you can do this, right? But the problem with being a smart kid, which I bet many of you were smart kids growing up, that when things become challenging at school, the internal notion of myself as a smart kid got questioned, and I felt confused and worried. I thought, how can I be smart if I don't understand this? And they must have had it wrong. They think I belong in this gifted program, but I don't think I do. How do I keep anyone from noticing? I didn't want to disappoint the people who thought I was smart. They seemed to be very invested in that part of my identity. So I just burned the whole house down and intentionally stopped doing anything at school so that the focus could be on my dramatic behavior rather than this very real sense of internal failure, this very real internal sense of failure and identity confusion I was experiencing when the world and its expectations pushed up against something I thought was true about me. But it can be true that a person can be both very smart and also not great at everything. I don't know if you guys knew that, but a person can be smart but struggle with comprehension sometimes. A person can be smart but not have the requisite skills for mastery. Being smart just means having the capacity to learn. But I didn't know that as a child. I believed that if I was truly smart, that I would magically just understand and know everything easily. Now I know that I am quite smart, but that I need interest in whatever I'm learning to make me want to use my smarts to master it, because otherwise I'm quite lazy. My behavior. And I thought that I was shy my whole life. And at some time in adulthood, I decided this is actually not true. The truth is I'm extremely introverted. I know many of you can relate to that, and have some anxiety. So I don't think shy is or ever was the word for it. But believing I was shy allowed me to just avoid situations and or created extreme worry about my social performance. Personally, I've equated shy with a feeling of not belonging that I didn't really challenge. I just don't fit in, or I'm too shy to attend this event. I don't belong here. These aren't my people. I can't do public speaking. But really, I just suck at small talk because I don't enjoy it. I'd rather speak only when I have things to say. I don't like networking events because that's too many people at once. I don't want to cold call people to sell my offerings to them because it feels gross. But I like people and I love connecting with them, and I'm confident in my ability to carry a conversation and to make people feel seen. I'm great at my coaching job and great at the parts of this job that are focused on relationship building. None of this is shy. The label doesn't fit. So, when you are thinking of yourselves, think of this, but also when you are raising your children, be mindful not to tell them who they are. They want to please you. They will do their best to embody whatever identity you have assigned them. But from my perspective, the best parents are the ones who have decided to be gardeners and not carpenters. Allow your child to grow into who they are through as many iterations as they require, rather than form them to who you think they are or should be. Surely we want to pass on our values to our children, but a child being free to question in general must include being free to question who they are and to creatively explore their identity. I personally wish I'd felt more free to do this much sooner. I can see places where to this day, even in this role this past year, I've been shrinking to fit, or stretching to fit, or smiling and nodding to fit, or people-pleasing to fit. But unfortunately, I've learned the hardest way possible again and again that none of that actually means I fit. It means I deny myself. So the goal should be a real sense of belonging for my whole self, a real sense of belonging for your whole self, instead of trying to fit in. So in 2024, one of my personal goals is to evaluate at every moment whether the action, word, deed, or even thought is in alignment with my values and in service of a future that I want to build. The shift has felt good and a little scary, but I want this for everyone. And it takes courage, it takes boundary setting, it takes premiering yourself to the world over and over again so that you are the most updated version at all times. It will mean accepting that some people have a vested interest in you not changing. Folks may not always understand. Do it anyway because you will be happier and more free. So for you, think about what labels or identities you've been living under and then assess for their current resonance. Ask yourself any or all of these questions. Are you in alignment with your authentic self? Is there healing work you still need to do? Why might you be limiting yourself? What is stopping you? Do you want to change something about how you're living or behaving or showing up? What new things might you try if you weren't stuck in whatever box was built for you? What have you been doing that doesn't serve you, and how might you begin to change those things? What are you afraid will happen if you start changing? Because truly, you have to let yourself evolve. Our spirits are not built for stagnation. We're not meant to feel caged by our lives. The purpose of life, if there is one, should merely be to appreciate it while we're here and do our best to make the world a better place for everyone. I acknowledge fully that the world is an ugly place in many ways, and its ugliness robs far too many people of their fundamental human right to safe passage through their lifespan. I am not here with toxic positivity. I live personally in a state of low-level existential dread much of the time. I'm sure many of you can relate to that as well. But I know how easy it is to be overwhelmed by all the tragedy in the world and forget about the mission of living or feel too guilty to live fully knowing others aren't given that freedom. I'm simply here with a reminder that your one precious life is waiting for you to respond to its whispered desires, including the desire to uplift others, to march for the freedom from oppression for others, to champion ethical action in all corners of your life. So if there's something you want to do or a position you want to take, it doesn't really matter if it seems out of character to other people. It does not matter if they are surprised or even disappointed in you. If you are in alignment with yourself, you are doing what is best. It may be that someone important to you doesn't understand what you're doing or how you're living or what you're standing up for. And maybe that has stopped you many times in the past from evolving fully into yourself. But the truth is, if you want to change something about your life or circumstances, you are the only person who must agree to it. Obviously, consider the impact on whatever systems you're in. That includes families, that includes jobs, that includes relationships. The moves I can freely make as an individual are not the same moves I can make in my role as the executive director of an organization. There are always calculations to be made when you're part of a system. Being mindful of costs and benefits, both material and social, is part of being a responsible adult. Obviously, move ethically through your evolution. Do no harm. But if your life calls you to evolve, then evolve and change and grow and be someone new. It's important to note yet again that your core self does not change. There is an essence of who you are that you know only. But everything around that core has been shaped by your life thus far, and mostly those influences are external to you. Mostly those were imposed upon you and not measured and weighed consistently against, is this right for me? So dig in and see what's going on there. Listen to yourself when you feel pulled in a direction, even if you've never been pulled that way before and it feels odd or even scary. I love and enjoy change. Not everyone is as restless and mercurial as I am, of course, but my guess is that more of you would like to make radical, or not so radical, changes and grow and try on new aspects of yourself. See how and whether those new versions of yourself fit with your current relationships and ways of being in the world. Relationships are dynamic and ever evolving because humans are, and they can always get better. When talking about improving relationships, it is important to accept that we can only change ourselves. As much as we may wish it were otherwise, other people's behavior is entirely out of our control. And often, we are contributing to whatever behavior they are displaying as we continually trigger and influence people around us while they are in turn doing the same thing to us. We each bring all of our garbage with us that is both hidden and seen, and tend to just throw it around and hope it doesn't cause too much damage. A lot of times, we also blame others for the messes we make. We make our happiness contingent upon the behavior of others. This is a bad plan. Our best bet is to take inventory of what our contribution is to every interaction, which supports what Samantha said this morning, and to figure out how we can do it better each time. Basically, I say this a lot, you've got to make sure your house is clean before you can invite anybody to move in. So what does this look like? How do we clean our house? How do we make ourselves a welcoming and safe place for people we love, both as a community, as an individual, as we also do this internal evolutionary work? How do we keep from being self-centered while we grow and change? You do your work, you unpack your issues, you go to therapy, you unearth your roots, you exercise your demons. Whatever you call it, it doesn't matter. It's all that icky leftover stuff that you bring with you, dragging behind you, cluttering up your relationships. And when I was a therapist, I called it your shit bag. Don't anybody send me feedback about saying that here. Just being honest, I would describe that everybody has their shit bag that they drag around with them, that they, from early in life, start shoving stuff in there that they find other people don't like, or they don't get approval for, so they shove it in this bag. And then they drag it around behind them, and then over time, it starts to spill. And you start to make a mess. So that is the point at which this evolutionary work is important. Most of what we are carrying is old anyway. Like I said before, most of it was assigned to you by your life and by the world. So let yourself grow. How many of the stories you have about yourself are even true anymore, if they ever were? Edit, delete, start over. I do this work because I truly believe that incredible changes can happen by doing some deep, courageous self-reflection and relearning, or learning for the first time how to love ourselves authentically, and learning new skills to communicate with the people we love more effectively. These efforts in tandem will always lead to significant improvements in all areas of your life, I promise. May you find the happiest, healthiest, and most peaceful version of yourself and our community in 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy, for giving us a call to personal action as well as a way to make our community better. Members of the Welcome team will now take up a collection to support this society. If you're moved to make a donation today, we appreciate anything that you may be able to offer. Like all nonprofits, the Ethical Society relies on the generosity of members and friends to ensure that our community can keep providing its many free programs. And if you don't have cash with you today, that's okay. You can donate at ethicalstl.org/donate, or use the QR code that's on the screen, or even better, you can become a pledging member. If you're interested in joining the Ethical Society, our membership coordinator, Courtney Scott Camarada, will be available afterwards to answer your questions. We'd love to keep you informed about the future events at the Ethical Society of St. Louis. So there's a weekly newsletter. If you don't get it, you can use the QR code above me to sign up. This is a vibrant place. There's a lot going on every single day here, and I hope that you can find a way to get involved and connected into the community in ways that feel good for you. And if you want details on any of the events, you can check out the weekly newsletter or the monthly connection, the Friends of the Ethical Society Facebook page, or you can email the relevant staff person. We have a bevy of announcements this week, so let's get started with them. Number 1, please join the board for a forum in the Hankey Room at 9:45 a.m. on Sunday, January 21st, for a discussion of the proposed change to the bylaws. After the forum, we'll remain in the Hankey Room as we transition to a special membership meeting at 10:30 a.m. for the official bylaws vote. In order to obtain the required quorum of active members, and because your input is valuable, as many members as possible are encouraged to attend on January 21st. The proposed bylaws change is to Article 4, Professional Leadership, and the change simply removes the statement, quote, "an American Ethical Union certified," end quote, from the bylaws, and replaces it with the word "the." So it would read, resulting in the leader or leaders shall be appointed by the Board of Trustees for a renewable contract term not to exceed 3 years. After meeting with the American Ethical Union Board President and Secretary, the Ethical Society Board is confident that the removal of the AEU certification from our bylaws will not impact our relationship with the AEU, and it will only allow more options for candidates in our pending leader search. So please, if you're a member, plan to attend the board forum and special membership meeting on January 21st. Absentee ballots are also available in the office. And if you have questions about the bylaws amendment, you can reach out to the board at board@ethicalstl.org. Announcement 2. Please join us in the foyer for the reception for our quilt artist, Paul Brewer. We'll have coffee and cookies, and Paul will explain how he makes his amazing quilts, which they go all around and are beautiful. 3. A month ago, I gave our annual update on the Uganda Humanist Schools Trust. And if you weren't here for that, you can find the talk on the podcast page or on YouTube. I am so pleased to share that we've had another record-breaking fundraising year with over $32,000 donated so far. It's incredible, you all, and our collective generosity is so inspiring. And I'll let you know it's not too late to contribute. If you'd like to help support the education of Ugandan girls, you can write a check to the Ethical Society with UHST in the memo line, or connect with Nancy Jelenic in the office for other options like an auto withdrawal from your checking account, or an IRA distribution, or stock transfer, or all those other things that she would happily help you out with, and I'm not very skilled with it all. We will be wiring the money in about 2 weeks, so please get your donations in by January 18th. And if you have questions about that, you can connect with me or Samantha White or Allison Heil. All right, it is time to welcome back up Emily Wallace for her final selection, an original tune called Trees. Is that what we're hearing?
That's what we're hearing.
Perfect. Okay. Hold on. We've got another announcement.
Sorry, totally forgot. But because we have a lot of visitors in the room today, I wanted to make sure to say this. If you are a visitor, meaning anyone who is not an official member of the Ethical Society, please come next Sunday And after platform, we will have a Donuts with the Director where you can have coffee and donuts in the smaller, quiet room downstairs where we hold forum. Right after platform with me and Courtney, who's the membership coordinator, and you'd be able to ask your questions in a small group format. So we're going to do that the second Sunday of every month after platform. I just wanted to throw that out there because I know we have some new visitors, so come back next week and then stick around and talk with me afterwards. Take it away.
Can I say something straight?
Okay, so gorgeous voice. But yes, yes. But your lyrics to that song are such a perfect counterpoint of growth and change and power of community and beauty. And what a wonderful close. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here today, for each other, and for yourselves. I hope that today's gathering helped you feel more connected to other people, that it gave you new and interesting ideas, and it inspired you to think about the values that guide your life and how you will use them in this upcoming year. I invite you to spend more time in community with each other by greeting somebody nearby or heading down for coffee hours downstairs in the Becker Room. If you're unsure where that is, you can just head downstairs with the crowd. They'll go down that pathway. There's coffee and tea available along with lots of conversation. I am so glad that we were here together, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day and a happy new year. Thank you.